Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just announced that Jake Schreier is directing the new X-Men reboot movie and a bunch more plans about the movies and TV shows for all those characters after Avengers Secret Wars and the soft reboot that they're doing on the MCU. We actually also know a lot about the story of this new X-Men movie too, so we'll break it all down. Because the new Fantastic Four movie is coming out, we're doing that ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what you want them to do with Franklin Richards going forward, because he is one of the most powerful Omega-level mutants in the MCU that they're introducing. Pretty easy to assume that they're going to try and put him in some of these upcoming X-Men movies too. Do not be surprised if they try to age him up using Avengers Doomsday in Secret Wars. Probably just going to try to speed run him just a little bit older so they can actually put him in some of those upcoming movies the next several years. You could just hear all the Power Pack fans out there rising up in anger, asking if they're going to be left in the cold. Right now, Franklin Richards is kind of like the Grogu at Marvel, like most powerful, tiny baby character. But the biggest news today was the official confirmation that Jake Schreier is directing that next X-Men movie. There were a lot of rumors about this a little while ago when Thunderbolts first came out because he was one of their top two picks, with him competing with Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler said that he's been a long-time X-Men stan of the comics, so early on when Marvel announced that they were going to do a new X-Men reboot movie several years ago, like way back at Comic-Con 2019, so he was just throwing his hat in the ring, like, if you're going to do a new X-Men movie, please let me do it. And because Black Panther had earned so much money, he was one of the top picks. The brand new X-Men movie schedule got in the way of Black Panther 3, and he views Black Panther movies as his priority. And one of the next big announcements was that Black Panther 3 will also be one of those 2028 mystery Marvel movies coming out right after Avengers Secret Wars, introducing a totally new version of Black Panther. I'm working on a separate video for that new version of Black Panther. They'll introduce him by Secret Wars ahead of Black Panther 3, so it's not directly connected with the X-Men reboot movie. Closest connection between the new X-Men movie and the future Black Panther is the Storm character. This was the story that Variety reported about Jake Schreier taking over this new X-Men movie, though. Secret Wars is meant to be the finale of the multiverse saga, after which Marvel is expected to pivot to a saga centered around characters inherited in Disney's 2019 acquisition of 20th Century Fox, the X-Men. Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier has been tapped to helm the MCU's first mutant movie, although many actors from Fox's X-Men movies, the classic versions of the characters from the 2000s, including Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, will appear in Avengers Doomsday. A lot of you now asking, why are they giving Jake Schreier the X-Men movie if it's so important to the future of Marvel, if Deadline, Variety themselves, Hollywood Reporter, all just turned on Jake Schreier, pointing to the Thunderbolts, calling it unsuccessful as a movie, disappointing, and losing money for Marvel. They actually made it sound like the Thunderbolts movie was technically going to be a bomb. Well, the reason why Kevin Feige is still letting Jake Schreier direct the X-Men movie is largely because he felt like the Thunderbolts was a good ensemble movie, and it not performing well at the box office had nothing to do with it not being a good movie. It was reviewed by critics and fans very favorably compared to other recent Marvel movies. It was the best reviewed Marvel movie since Spider-Man No Way Home. I literally just did a whole video explaining the several reasons why it lost money at the box office. It's a combination of factors. Also did not help that the Thunderbolts got released right after Captain America Brave New World, which got poor reviews from a lot of people and poor word of mouth. So Kevin Feige isn't super worried about box office billion-dollar hits for a lot of its lesser titles. He probably went into Thunderbolts not expecting it to earn $1 billion. Jake Schreier came with receipts, too. He's been a long-time X-Men comic book fan since he was a kid, and supposedly he had a banger pitch for what the new movie, the new direction of the X-Men should be that impressed Kevin Feige, and that helped him win the job. Most of you have seen the Thunderbolts movie at this point, and it serves as a good example of why Jake Schreier is a good pick for X-Men just in general. Thunderbolts was an ensemble movie mostly focused on the character development and getting you to really care about lesser characters that you might have overlooked before. They even turned that into a bit in the movie with Val not knowing who a lot of the characters were or remembering who the characters were. Like, who? Who are you? Why should I care about you?
Who is this old Santa? I'm Alexei Shostakov, the Red Guardian.
What?
Jake Schreier did an amazing job of getting you to care about all those characters and following all their development through the movie without losing itself in the spectacle of the final battle with Sentry and Void, which is a typical problem of a lot of big Marvel movies. And one of the major things that Kevin Feige said about X-Men in the past, and a lot of different people at Marvel have said this, is calling them a glorious soap opera, comparing it to other major Marvel franchises. There's no better example for how X-Men stories and characters work and feel than X-Men 97 Season 1 recently. I literally did videos for all the episodes, so the links are down below in the description, but it was just a continuation of X-Men the Animated Series with modernized animation styles, but most of the classic voice actors coming back to do their characters. We will be getting Season 2 during 2026. They've already confirmed Season 3. One of the longtime jokes in the fandom is that X-Men stories in general are kind of like soap operas for boys. So character work, interpersonal drama, team dynamics, way more important than your traditional big action movies. And those are probably the best parts of the Thunderbolts movie, like the best thing that he did during that movie was the character work itself. Also noting that he is a longtime fan of the X-Men comics, meaning he also understands X-Men stories specifically and how they're different from, say, like all the other characters. Recently, Variety also said that Michael Leslie penned the script, makes it sound like it's already done and ready to go, but with them hiring Jake Schreier now, after the script was already done, makes me feel like they'll retune the story to fit a little with whatever his specific pitch for the movie was. Very important on the timeline here too and how this all percolates. Variety also specifically calls out how Marvel is using Avengers Secret Wars to end the multiverse saga using the original Fox X-Men, the ones we saw during the Chair Watch video in Avengers Doomsday. There will be more classic X-Men actors coming back during Doomsday and Secret Wars. The Chair Watch video was only for the ones who had already actually signed contracts. One of the major reasons why they just delayed Doomsday and Secret Wars so much was because contracts for important actors that they really needed for the movie were not done yet. But here's how they're actually laying the track work for the X-Men reboot movie with Doomsday and Secret Wars. This new X-Men movie will largely be the focus of their big reboot that's happening at Marvel after Secret Wars.
Rebranded!
The Secret Wars movie is taking more inspiration from the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars run, the more recent one. At the end of that, they actually do perform a soft reboot, remaking the multiverse, but with a couple minor changes under the hood. They're basically rebooting the MCU to look more like the authentic 616 comic book universe. At the same time, Marvel is also using this new era that they're heading into, the mutant saga, as a jumping on point, or to be a jumping on point for brand new, younger audiences, which is why a lot of this new X-Men team will be younger actors. Think more X-Men First Class vibes, just set in present day. Right now, the only exceptions that I know of for sure are Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. They will continue to come back in Marvel movies, like the doing this till we're 90 joke, but Hugh Jackman won't always be the main version of Wolverine. Eventually, Marvel will recast a much younger actor. Kevin Feige also said this is why the new recast Wolverine won't be in this first new X-Men movie. They're waiting till later to introduce him. It's also one of the reasons why they just introduced Adamantium in the MCU during Captain America Brave New World to lay the track work for MCU Weapon X and the creation of that brand new Wolverine. So right now, most likely, this is what it's going to be in 2028. Black Panther 3 in February, X-Men still in May. I think they'll try to keep it in May. And either Shang-Chi 2 or Thor 5 in December, depending on which script winds up being stronger. They were still supposed to make Doctor Strange 3 a little while ago, but it could have been quietly canceled behind the scenes for them to prioritize all their attention on Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. They've already revealed some of the plot details for the upcoming X-Men movie. They want Mr. Sinister to be the main villain of this first movie. Makes sense. William Stryker is also supposed to be introduced. They're very different kinds of villains, though. It would largely revolve around the new version of the team forming at the MCU version of the X-Mansion. Remember, mutants are going to exist in the MCU en masse in a way that we haven't seen before. There are a couple right now in present, but not that many. They're going to be all over the place after Secret Wars in that little soft reboot. And remember, they want this to be a jumping on point for brand new, younger audiences, so younger characters. Also, the reason why they want to have a movie at the X-Mansion so much is because Disney really likes money, and they really like the money they get from their parks, Disneyland, Disney World.
I give you credit for just outright asking the question. And I'll give myself credit for trying to evade it and avoid it entirely.
They make way more money on that stuff than they do on the actual movies themselves. So, for example, they have Avengers Campus, they have the Spider-Man areas, if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World. They're actually a lot of fun, so I would recommend checking them out at some point. Disney wants a new X-Men zone, which would be kind of like their version of Hogwarts Wizarding World, but with mutants, like a school full of superpowered kids that people can go visit and spend their money at every single day. Disney's seeing them back up that dump truck of money. Mr. Sinister was heavily featured during the recent X-Men 97 Season 1. They largely used him to do a speedrun version of Cable's origin story. They also started to introduce William Stryker in the Purifiers during those episodes. I think they'll be bigger in Season 2, or the one that Bo DeMeo wrote before Marvel fired him. Bringing this back around to more recent Marvel movie developments, William Stryker was also heavily involved in the Weapon X program, so they can actually use him to help create the new MCU version of Wolverine with the brand new adamantium that they just revealed in Captain America: Brave New World. Also pretty easy to assume that they're going to try and put Miss Marvel in these new upcoming X-Men movies. That's why they made her a mutant recently. Also, because they're bringing Scarlet Witch back, we have Billy and Tommy, who are also mutants. When it comes to super OP characters like Franklin Richards, I think it's a wait-and-see kind of approach. Like, Marvel will wait and see how well Fantastic Four does to see how much they want to use him in the future. But everyone, post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know what you want them to do with the future of X-Men. This really is Marvel's big opportunity to turn the ship around, so to speak, like turn the hype back around. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. I'm working on that video for that brand new version of Black Panther. There's also a bunch of DC stuff that James Gunn announced with Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. So I'll try to do videos for all that stuff in the next couple of days. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here for that brand new Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doom teaser, and click here for my brand new Superman videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.